Hello everyone, and welcome to my channel. Recently, at the press conference of the 14th National People's Congress of China, Chinese State Councillor and Foreign Minister Wang Yi responded to a question from a CNN reporter, in the context of the America First policy. Does this provide China with a strategic opportunity to reshape the global order? Today, I will analyze and refute Wang Yi's response, drawing on the ideological education I have received since childhood. Who really upholds the law of the jungle? Wang Yi criticized the America First policy, arguing that it would push the world back into a law of the jungle, disrupt the existing international order, and harm smaller and weaker nations. However, the truth is quite the opposite. China itself is the biggest proponent of the law of the jungle. From a young age, we have been taught that backwardness invites aggression and that China's historical struggles since the late Qing dynasty were solely due to its lack of strength, while external imperialist forces have always harbored ambitions to subjugate China. As a result, the Chinese government has prioritized strengthening its military, technology, and other external capabilities over improving domestic well-being. For example, in 1958, Mao Zedong's "Surpass Britain and Catch Up with America" campaign led to disastrous steel production efforts, producing worthless scrap metal and triggering a famine. Similarly, at a time when many Chinese struggled for food, the government prioritized nuclear weapon development to establish China as a global power. This obsession with national strength, fueled by a law of the jungle mentality, has continued into modern times, with economic and military expansion taking precedence over citizens' well-being. In the past decade, as China's economic and military power has grown, its true diplomatic stance has become increasingly apparent. Wolf warrior diplomacy has emerged as China's signature approach, characterized by aggressive rhetoric and confrontational foreign relations. This ideological shift has even influenced many Chinese citizens, leading them to believe that possessing a Chinese passport grants them impunity abroad. Economically, China has always believed in money talks. Since joining the United Nations and integrating into globalization, the Chinese government has repeatedly used its developing country status to evade international responsibilities and has leveraged its role as the world's factory to pressure other nations and expand its political influence. Examples include the Belt and Road Initiative, BRI, and China's insistence that nations accept its interpretation of UN Resolution 2758 as a prerequisite for economic cooperation, effectively forcing them to acknowledge the One China policy. Who is the real hegemon? Wang Yi further criticized U.S. hegemony, claiming that China's foreign policy consistently upholds international justice and opposes power politics and hegemonic behavior. He emphasized that history must move forward, not backward, and that major powers, i.e., the U.S., should fulfill their international obligations rather than prioritize self-interest or bully weaker nations. However, such rhetoric starkly contradicts China's own foreign policy and actions. The phrase "weak nations have no diplomacy" has long been used by the Chinese Communist Party, CCP, to justify high military spending and foreign aid while neglecting domestic welfare. Over the past 40 years, China has risen from poverty to become the world's second-largest economy and third-largest military power. Yet, despite claiming to be a peace-loving nation, China has repeatedly engaged in coercion against its neighbors. The Philippines, Taiwan, Indonesia, and even Australia have been subjected to Chinese diplomatic and military pressure. Due to China's economic dominance, many countries have little choice but to tolerate such aggression. Recently, Wang Yi publicly declared that the Taiwan Strait has always been China's internal waters, attempting to justify the Chinese military's near-daily incursions into the region and its destabilizing actions. The irony of a country engaging in frequent military intimidation while simultaneously condemning others for hegemony is truly laughable. Community of shared future for mankind, a hollow promise. Finally, Wang Yi praised Jinping's concept of a community of shared future for mankind, claiming that it embodies the traditional Chinese value of universal harmony while demonstrating the CCP's commitment to internationalism. He called on all nations to follow China's lead in guiding humanity to a new era of civilization. However, This vision is hardly convincing when compared to China's reality. Let's examine some key data. These figures reveal that under the CCP's rule, the Chinese people face considerable hardships, contradicting the grand narrative of a community of shared future. If the Chinese government cannot even ensure the well-being of its own citizens, how can it be expected to lead humanity toward a brighter future? Furthermore, China's global initiatives reveal contradictions. For instance, after the Trump administration withdrew from the Paris Agreement, China vowed to uphold climate commitments. While the CCP aggressively promotes electric vehicles and renewable energy at home, it simultaneously funds coal-fired power plants across Africa, Asia, and Latin America under the BRI, significantly increasing global carbon emissions. This double standard suggests that China's real priority is not humanity's future, but its own international image and political leverage. In the face of such narratives, we must remain clear-headed and recognize the true motives and strategies at play. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to comment, like, and share. See you in the next episode.